Developing student understanding of equality. How do you know what your students understand about solving equations using the equal symbol? In this lesson, you will learn to develop student understanding of equality by using open number sentences and true-false equations. Let's review. We already know that every day students are being exposed to equations using the 4 operations, whether that be through visual models like cubes or base 10 blocks, through teachers modeling student thinking through writing equations, or writing those equations themselves. We also know that our students should be familiar with basic computational fact families according to the fluency standards in the Common Core. We also know that in our investigations curriculum, many of the units contain an algebra connections portion in the teacher notes. This section is typically located on page 16 in each individual unit. This portion of your unit contains helpful advice, guidance, and examples of how to emphasize the algebra concepts within the unit. For example, in Grade 4, Unit 5, Landmarks and Large Numbers, students are transforming larger 3-digit addition equations into friendlier numbers as a strategy to efficiently solve equations. They must then explain how to find the answer to the original problem using their new equation. There are some common misunderstandings involving the equal symbol. As a teacher, I assumed that my students had previous experience using equations and the equal symbol, so much so that they would inherently understand what the equal symbol means. However, many students believe that the equal symbol means to compute or to do the problem that precedes it. This is also why some students may struggle when an equation is presented to them with the answer followed by an equal sign, rather than the equation followed by the equal sign. For example, many students answer the problem 8 plus 4 equals blank plus 5 by saying that 12 belongs in the blank, because 8 plus 4 equals 12. They compute 8 plus 4, but pay no attention to the relationship that the equal sign represents. There are many Common Core connections to this subject. The understanding of equality instruction begins in kindergarten, so the assumption is that by grades 4 and 5, students would have a working understanding of how to use the equal symbol. As you can see, each grade level has a standard that directly addresses the use of symbols to describe relationships between numbers. This subject is also related to Mathematical Practice Standard number 6, Attend to Precision. This standard states that students are able to state the meaning of the symbols they choose, including using the equal sign consistently and appropriately. To continue working with your students to develop their understanding of equality, begin by presenting the equation 8 plus 4 equals blank plus 5 to the whole class as a quick formative assessment. Collect and analyze the data to determine how students are approaching the equation. The data here shows that a majority of students solved 8 plus 4 to answer 12, but ignored the rest of the equation. A handful of students added 8 plus 4, but then were unsure what to do with the remaining plus 5, so they added that as well, to get a total of 17. Only 3 students were able to use the equal sign to correctly interpret the equation. After collecting the initial data and determining your class's misconceptions, teach 1 to 2 mini-lessons or number talks, utilizing open number sentences and true-false equations in order to develop student understanding, and foster a shift from thinking that the equal symbol means compute or do, and more towards student understanding that the symbol represents a relationship, or means the same as. Here, I began by having students answer what they thought the equal sign meant in words. After collecting their answers, we had a long discussion about the relationship it represents and came to the conclusion that it truly means the same as. This would be a great time to also use a balance scale to represent that the words the same as mean equal. After that, we discussed the open number sentence 9 plus 3 equals blank plus 8. Using our new knowledge of what the equal sign means, we knew this equation truly read as 9 plus 3 is the same as blank plus 8. We first solved 9 plus 3 to equal 12. We then knew we had to add something to 8 to equal 12 as well. We knew that 8 plus 4 equals 12, so the answer was 4. Next, we examined some true-false equations to reinforce the idea that the equal sign means the same as. We ended the number talk with a second open number sentence. I also told my class that they are now the equal sign police. Whenever someone says equals, they have to all say in unison the same as. This way, I can be sure that they are reminded often of what the equal sign truly means. After your mini lessons in number talks, complete a post-assessment of a new open number sentence to determine your students' growth, as well as create small groups for specific interventions. There are a multitude of resources available on this topic. Some of these include the books Thinking Mathematically by Carpenter, Frank, and Levi, and Number Talks by Sherry Parrish. In addition, the article Fostering Relational Thinking While Negotiating the Meaning of the Equal Sign and the instructional routines from the San Diego Unified School District are great resources for locating more information and guidance in developing student understanding. In this lesson, you learn to develop student understanding of equality by using open number sentences and true-false equations.